welcome to the special edition of Second City Sports on the hashtag Football Friday. Happy holidays, everyone. You're listening to Sports Zone Chicago, along with Miss Lakina McGee, which is she. I am Cindy Brown. Hey, that's me. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter, X, and the IG at CK80. Once again, it's CK80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow my Kayla McGee on the Twitter, X, and Kayla's going to be on the IG.
Make sure you download that Sports Zone Chicago app wherever you get your apps. Make sure you follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, so Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, and YouTube. Please subscribe to our podcast at War Media Podcast. That's WARR Media, PODCASTS. We are on all podcast platforms, including the iHeartRadio app. And while you're at it, please give War Media a follow at WARR Media on Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And thank you very much in advance for your support.
Like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends.
We are unapologetically fun, and we have very definite opinions. If you have any definite sports opinions during our 2-hour extravaganza we call a Sports Talk Radio Show, you can always find us at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or at Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in those questions or comments in the comments section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you. But you've decided to troll and or do something silly, dumb, or stupid, I've given Lakina full powers to give you fools to bill and be a boot.
Ho, ho, ho! Caesar's greetings. Toodles.
But before we begin, we must remind you can also catch Sports Zone Chicago live in living color right now on Roku TV. That's right. So celebrate with the squad and get with the program. Sports Zone Chicago is now available on Roku TV. If you already have a Roku television, just tap on that sports folder and download that Sports Zone Chicago app. If you don't have a Roku television, but you have some handheld devices laying around, iPhone, iPad, iTouch, your Chromebook, or your PC, just head up to Google Play Store and download that Roku TV app and access Sports Zone Chicago through that avenue. So no more excuses. Celebrate the squad and get with the program. Sports Zone Chicago is now available on Roku TV. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Live and on demand.
Anytime, anywhere.
And you know we will provide.
And I know you guys are getting ready, finishing up your Christmas shopping. If you're listening to us for the first time here, what? Don't be strangers. You're welcome here on Second City Sports. We're going to talk some, of course, Week 16 of the NFL. We've got, of course, Bears Cardinals. Yay.
Because not so game of the week.
yeah, exactly. Of course, college hoops. You got some big matches coming up this weekend. Also, too, some college football as well with the bowl games coming up. And whatnot, some interesting games coming up over the break, because we're going to be off Monday because of the Christmas holiday. But yeah, so we're gonna keep you guys informed of what's going on right now. But first, some interest, some really a little bit of a roll here. One of our teams here in Chicago, a little bit of a roll so far.
Williams rotates it to DeRozan, bounces it to Vucevic, Caruso using the screen, taking it into Wendell. Over the course of this year, when to attack, when to pass, when to run offense, and when to shoot. And Caruso shooting right movement into Drummond with the shot.
That is a nice weapon to have.
There's Dosunmu, he floats it.
And it's one of
inside to Drummond, banging away on Collins, got it to go. Drummond continued to come off the bench. White 31-2.
Batavia. Catch the two guys.
Nice finish by Dosunmu.
And those are highlights, of course, from NBC Sports Chicago, of course, with Adam Amin and Stacey Key with the call, as the Bulls have now won 3 in a row, and 4 of their last 6, by this time by beating the Spurs. The Golden Spurs 114-95. Coby White still, doing his thing, 22 points, 10 for 15 from the field. DeMar DeRozan had 21 points, 9 for 15 from the field. P. Will, doing his thing, 7 of 11 from the field and 2 for 4 from 3, 18 points there. So it's a very solid team win for the Bulls as they go to 13-17. Yeah, of course, yes, they benefited from a very somewhat easy schedule. It wasn't all easy by all means. They did beat the Bucks. They beat Spurs, teams that they're supposed to beat. But they've been playing better. They're moving the basketball a lot better. didn't shoot very well from the three yesterday, only 7 for 28. But you know what? They were able to counteract by doing very well for the field, shooting just a little over 54%. So, Sid, what do you think about this game last night?
Well, the Bulls, as you mentioned, they took advantage of a bad opponent. Victor Wembanyama, the star rookie for the Spurs, he didn't do much better than the rest of his team. Uh, Remember, a couple weeks ago, he had 21 points and 20 rebounds. He did the opposite of that. I thought the Bulls played great defense on him. And, head coach Greg Popovich is trying to work him in easily. So his other teammates got involved, like Jeremy Sochan and Vassell, who led the team in scoring, I believe, with 25. But as far as the Bulls are concerned, 4 of the 5 starters were in double figures. As I said all season, I'll say it here again. This Bulls team has to share the basketball. If this team averages 32 assists as a team or more, they usually win most of the time. Now, they averaged a little bit less than that, around 24, 25 these last few games, but the difference is they started to knock down shots, and they're starting to play a little bit better team defensively as well. They're rebounding the basketball much better, and they're starting to play a little bit better team defense as well. Andre Drummond has been a huge star coming off the bench, especially grabbing those offensive rebounds. We know what Alex Caruso brings to the team, especially with his defense from the perimeter. Remember, he missed a couple of games last week. Ever since his return, the Energizer Bunny has returned defensively for the Chicago Bulls team. I want to bring up something real quickly, Keenan. I don't know if you caught it. It was following Wednesday's game against the Los Angeles Lakers. Will Perdue and Kendall Gill pointed it out on the NBC Sports Chicago postgame show. And remember, Lakina, I said this about 2-3 weeks ago. Whenever Zach LaVine returns, I said that this Bulls team will not have to adjust to him. Zach LaVine is going to adjust his game to what the Bulls are doing right now. And Kendall Gill, I thought, brought up a great point. Kendall said, following the Lakers game on Wednesday, he said, if Zach LaVine is a smart basketball player, he should go to the assistant coaches on the team, in particular Maurice Chick, sit down, look at film, and ask them, what can I do to help this team? If it's to give up some points off my average, I'll do that. Grab a couple rebounds here and there, I'll do that. Dish out a couple more assists, I'll do that, because it's no worse feeling than sitting on the sidelines. The rest of your team is winning without you. Then you come back, and then you're not contributing in a positive light to your team. And Will Perdue basically said the same thing. So, Lakina, even though this does look good right now without Zach LaVine, and we talked about some of the tougher teams that they beat early in the week in Philadelphia on Monday on the road, and, of course, here at home against the Lakers on Wednesday. The Bulls can get away with it right now, but it's still going to come a time if Zach is still out when they had to play Philadelphia. Milwaukee was without Zach. Yes, they're going to need that presence, but I said it once, I'll say it again. Zach LaVine is going to have to adjust his game to the Bulls when he gets back. If he doesn't, it's going to be a whole world of problems, which this team does not need right now.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that game in Philadelphia, that was kind of a surprising sort of like an upset win for the Bulls, and this is one of those things where you're kind of like, okay, wow, how were they able to pull that off? And look, I know Embiid is saying 40 points. We'll talk about him after the break. When we talk about the rest of the NBA. Tyrese Maxey had 20, but that was about it. That's about all it, for that offense. I mean, no one else was in double figures for Philadelphia, and the Bulls, to their credit, they were able to take advantage of that. Vooch had, played, near the point. He had 23. Coby White had 24, was 2 for 6 from 3. Also to that's despite DeMar not having his best game, only 15 points. So the fact that the Bulls were able to take advantage of the fact that other than Embiid and Maxey, everyone else from the Sixers were shooting the ball very well. They were able to take advantage of that. Now the Lakers game, how much LeBron loves playing the Bulls, and and vice versa. The fact that they were able to kind of overcome some of those little idiosyncrasies, with all that, and the Lakers have had their struggle too, coming off that in-season tournament win, but they were able to, the Bulls' credit, DeRozan had 27, was 12 of 16 from the field. Coby, not his best showing so far since he started playing another level, but all 5 stars were in double figures for the Bulls, and they were able to kind of take advantage and make the big shots that, and they were able to make the big shot. And Vooch actually put in a dagger, and he didn't have his best shooting, range, but he actually made the big shots when they needed to. So for me, I think, that was sort of what happened with yesterday's game, because you can kind of tell they're still a bit last. They were coming off a back-to-back, so they're kind of just dragging along. Then something, just clicked with them, and everyone started, shooting the ball even better and did what you're supposed to against a team like the Spurs that's such struggling. So for me, it is, look, they play a Cleveland team that's, very shorthanded. They've had a couple of their guys are out. So, and it gets a little bit tougher after that. But I think if you're the Bulls, look, pad these wins up now. Try to see if you can kind of, once, Zach is able to come back, have to adjust to what they're doing. He may have to come off the bench. Who knows? But I'm not gonna say the Bulls are gonna suddenly win 20 of their next 25 and be right up there in the top 6. That this team's not built for that. But look, you gotta kind of have to adjust to what is going on right now. And I know that there was that clip of Billy Donovan asking from Joe Colley. He kind of did a whole word salad about Zach. Well, look, everyone else has been playing well, and not even mentioning Zach. But look, what else is he gonna say at this point? So I think for me, once he gets closer to Zach coming back, he is going to have to adjust. So hopefully he does what you say and go to, Mo Cheeks, go to the film room and see what he needs to do, trying to help this team out and not, take this team to get steps back as he was doing before he got hurt.
You're listening to Second City Sports, the Friday edition, the special Christmas edition of Second City Sports on Chicago, real live and in living color. Sid Lakini hanging out here with you, talking about the Chicago Bulls and their current 3-game winning streak after defeating the San Antonio Spurs on Wednesday, 114-95. Lakina wrapping up the point on Zach LaVine. We all know that Zach LaVine is one of the best scorers in the league when he gets going, but he's also a very ball-dominant player. And the reason why many Bulls fans, including us two, we observe very closely that, when Zach LaVine gets the ball, most of the time, unless he's on the very duress double team, he's not going to give the ball up. To a lesser extent, DeMar DeRozan as well. At least DeMar DeRozan plays a little bit better team ball than Zach does. But you notice with Zach being out, the ball is moving a whole lot more. There's none of this pump faking BS that we saw through the first few weeks of the season, trying to quote unquote learn his new offense. As Vucevic had his shots percentage go up, along with Coby White, Patrick Williams before last night's game against the Spurs. His last 5 games, 14 of 22 from three-point range, had a 64% clip. That has been amazing. Of course, Patrick Williams' play he picked it up right before Zach got hurt. He's just continued to stack his stats and stack the momentum that he's been brought to ever since he's brought back into the starting lineup. Also, too, let's give credit to Ayo Dosunmu, whether he's been starting or coming off the bench. He is bringing that energy from the bench, and he's contributing mightily well offensively, I might add. He still has to work on his shooting, but that's going to come with time. But he's locking down on defense. He's working with the flow of the offense, and he's just one of those quiet young leaders that this Bulls team needs, especially coming off the bench. The one thing that's going to hurt him going down the road here is Torrey Craig, who left last week's game due to that foot injury. He's going to be out the next 8 to 12 weeks. That's really going to hurt the bench, hurt this Bulls bench.
But you know what, also too, Andre Drummond's been playing very well. Yeah, he can be a pain in the butt sometimes, and he's gonna be doing. He does some things where you just want to you just want to, what is he doing? But he tamed Wembanyama to his credit. He forced AD and LeBron to make to try to make some tough shots. So it's gonna be interesting. That Craig injury is gonna be is probably gonna be a deterrent for this team, especially to get more and more better opponents, but. Right now, I guess they can get away with that now, and I think that if you're the Bulls, if you're a Bulls fan, I know there are some Bulls fans that are just rolling their eyes, but at the same time, they're like, hey, they can't help who they're playing against. So they've been playing better lately. Let's just enjoy the ride for right now and just take it one game at a time. That's all you can do.
Yes, and Coby White should be an all-star. I know the voting has opened up. You can go to NBA.com. I know you can vote on social media at Twitter, X, and various outlets. So let's see if we can get Coby White, Bulls fans, into the all-star game. Well, me and Lakina have been on this train since the beginning of December, the end of November when Zach got hurt. Notice not everybody around town saying that Coby White should be an all-star. We've been saying this for the last 3 weeks, so thank you for stealing our points here on Second City Sports. We appreciate the support. So as I said one more time, go vote, Bulls fans. Go vote for Coby White to participate in this year's all-star game in Indianapolis in February. You know where to go vote.
Yeah,
Exactly. Stuff those yeah, we're from Chicago. Yeah. Vote early, vote often, aka stuff those ballots, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, this is acceptable. Well, in this case, it's acceptable. So to stuff the ballot boxes and other cases. But we got to take a really quick break, of course. Here was at the bottom of the hour. But we'll talk the rest of the NBA. Some interesting things. Embiid still, showing off some records. The Clippers, we got the Clippers. They've been playing a lot better lately, thanks to Kawhi and James Harden. And of course, we'll say shh. I know Tyronn Williams may not want anybody to know that. Shh, but and of course we'll talk about the Bulls, Ring of Honor, and a whole lot more. More NBA talk coming next to Second City Sports on Sports Chicago. Kim C. Brown. More coming up.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I need for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class.
These colored pencils, too. These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver.
I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov, a public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Sean and Maya in the morning.
Welcome back to Second City Sports. We're live and live in color right here on Sports Zone Chicago on this hashtag Football Friday edition. I'm Sid. That's Lakina. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter, X, and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, at SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80. We have 85 minutes left or so in this extravaganza we call a Sports Talk Radio show. If you want to hit us up with some questions or comments, you can always find us at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or in Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. type in those questions or comments in the comment section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you. Now, other action from around the NBA last night, the Utah Jazz extended that losing streak for the Detroit Pistons, I believe, up to 24 games now, as the Utah Jazz defeat the Detroit Pistons by the score of 119-111. Also, to John Morant, who made his return earlier this week in New Orleans, hitting the game winner as the Memphis Grizzlies beat the Pelicans at the buzzer last night. He played in his first home game as the Grizzlies beat the Indiana Pacers 116-103. The Memphis Grizzlies have won 2 games in a row now, and I know they still have the third worst record in the Western Conference. They suffered through a lot of injuries, in particular Marcus Smart. Pardon my Tom Heinsohn, RIP to him, but Marcus Smart, who was brought over in the trade from the Celtics over the summer, he hasn't been healthy. And John Morant was serving that 25-game suspension, and the Memphis Grizzlies has struggled. So they won 2 in a row since John Morant has returned. Could this Memphis Grizzlies team make the playoffs? I'm not sure it's going to be tough because you have other teams that are ahead of them, like the Clippers, which we'll get to in a moment, the Lakers, the Suns, the Nuggets, and the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have been a surprise team this year. Also, too, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who won it again last night. They defeated the Clippers, by the way, at home. And so the Memphis have a bunch of teams to jump over, but can they make a run to perhaps participate in the in-season tournament? We'll soon find out as the season goes along. Also, to all the other notes to pass around from last night's action, the New Orleans Pelicans beat the Cleveland Cavaliers by the score of 123-104, and looks like we have my partner joining us to show. Get herself situated here in just a moment. Lakina? Okay, she's not there yet, but all right, Lakina is there.
Sorry.
Can you now I had to adjust myself.
Yeah, I'll say you disappeared. We're hoping
Yeah, one team that hasn't disappeared yet that I was talking about with our audience, that the Memphis Grizzlies have been on fire. John Morant returned to action earlier this week. He hit the game winner at New Orleans. They defeated the Pelicans, and then last night he made his home debut as they defeated the Pacers. Do you think that the Grizzlies have a chance to make a run to perhaps participate in the in-season in a postseason play-in tournament?
Yeah, I mean, look, you can tell that I guess that was a spark I guess that they needed, because they had struggle with Ja being out. So that buzzer beater on Tuesday, that was definitely one of those just wasn't sort of amazing what he did. I know he said something afterwards that made folks kind of scratch their heads, but he said that, well, I'll use this as bulletin board material for people who didn't believe him. I'm like, yeah, dude, you're doing fine. It's just that you're not. You're acting like a knucklehead. I mean, stop acting like a knucklehead, and then maybe people will take you seriously. So yeah, I mean that whole day was kind of, I don't want to say funny, but it was sort of hilarious of what he said on Tuesday after that buzzer. But look, we'll see. I mean, Memphis, you can kind of have us get to beat. Since he says coming back. Talking about Ja. They beat the Pacers. Of course, he had that buzzer beater against the Pelicans on Tuesday. So for me, I think this is gonna be interesting to see how this kind of all plays out and how this all shakes out. So I'm looking forward to seeing if they can keep it up.
Yeah, can you still hear me, Lakina? Or I'm okay?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. You may have to adjust your camera.
Oh, okay, yeah. We'll straighten out in just a minute. But also, too, I wanted to I mentioned the Detroit Pistons. I believe the losing streak is now at 24 games. The Utah Jazz get them last night, 119-111. What's going on with Monty Williams? I know they're eventually going to win a game, but this thing has taken a turn for the worse. And let's be honest here. I know the Pistons were expected this year, but no one expected it to go turn down the road like this.
Well, it's unfortunate because it's such maybe a few games here and there. I mean, they've been in a lot of games, and in this case here, they're actually right there with the Jazz, but the Jazz got hot, shooting wise, and they were able to kind of hold them off. The Pistons. So it's not like you think about with something they got Melvin Bagley the third. Of course, you got Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. Bogdanovich is another player that it's not like they don't have guys on that team. They do. It's just that they just haven't been able to Isaiah Livers. I mean, they just haven't been able to kind of mesh together yet. And 2-26, I mean, they would be a little bit better than that, but it kind of feels like, I don't know if it's Monty Williams' coach or maybe just a style of player, maybe just that their opponents have been kind of tough, but it's hard to tell like what's going on down there in Detroit. I know that our buddy Ryan Field, as we like I said, but I know he's a big from ABC7 New York. I know he's a big Pistons fan because he's from Detroit. But I know even he said this he's starting to get. I know a lot of Pistons fans are kind of getting sick of it. So it'll be interesting to see what if they can break this streak. I mean, they were 2-1. Ironically, they're the Bulls actually their last win. Go figure. And they lost like 25 in a row since then. So I don't know what's going on in Detroit, but it's going to be very interesting to see what if they can. I know they're going to win eventually. I don't know they're going to go like completely over and lose the rest of the season. It's just not, I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, that was a tough loss for them. Last night. The Pelicans did beat the Cavs, who are going to be the Bulls next opponent tomorrow. They've had that, like I said, they've been shorthanded. They've had their struggles lately, and just when you thought that the Clippers are starting to figure it out, of course they lose to the Thunder 134-115, and just a kind of a weirdness there of sorts. I know that the Clippers have been playing well since then, but of course the Pelicans are just a very tough squad right now. 23 points from Chet Holmgren. Chalkers Alexander, who I think is making a case for, I don't want to say MVP, but he definitely made a case there with another 31 points. On the flip side for the Clippers, 23 points from Harden. He's starting to kind of get a little bit better at it. I know Kawhi did not play because of low management. You can kind of tell that they missed him. Paul George PG had 22 points there. So yeah, that whole thing was a real interesting game there. Not really necessarily, not necessarily like not kind of like a big upset there, but you wonder like, okay, had Kawhi had played, would they have won that game or at least made it a little bit closer? You can kind of tell that him not being there, I think, was a big factor there yesterday. As we go, yeah, there is Sid. But yeah, I was talking about the Thunder Clippers game last night when Kawhi took the game off for load management. You can kind of tell why. That you saw why there that game last night with the Thunder.
Yeah, we talked in our last couple of episodes. So we talked about the Clippers turning it around. One, because you mentioned despite last night, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George being healthy for the majority of the season, Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. But Tyronn Lue has done a great job holding that squad together, and James Harden playing the point guard as well, so he doesn't have to be as ball dominant in terms of scoring. He's actually becoming a playmaker. We saw him do this a few years ago when he was with the Houston Rockets and with him and Dwight Howard, and it worked for a while. But those players know their roles, and they're not stepping out of their comfort zones to do what they need to do to win the game. Now, I do want to go back to Oklahoma City Thunder for a minute, Lakina. Excuse me. And we talk about them being one of those top teams in the league. And we said that they could be this year's Sacramento Kings, that a team that's coming out of nowhere and perhaps making some noise, taking a step. Last year, they lost in the play-in tournament game to, I believe, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and for the chance to play the eventual champion Nuggets in the playoffs, but they fell short. But they have taken major strides this year. I'm talking about the Thunder. Of course, Chet Holmgren looks good. Of course, Josh Giddey, minus his off-the-field stuff, he's still playing at a high level. Jalen Williams is a third player that I like on that team. He's contributing from the front line. And, of course, don't forget about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the all-star from last year. He's still playing at a high level as well.
Yeah, they really have. And like I said, I mean, it'll be interesting to see after the All-Star break, can they keep it up? I think that's going to be the question. If they can keep, themselves from, injuries, all that. I mean, hopefully they can kind of keep it up. So I think that I really like that way they play, and they've done a great job. And I kind of feel like this is sort of one of those instances where like this is going to get very interesting because I mean, you're seeing, we'll see, like again, it's going to be hard to kind of. Like I said, it's hard to kind of measure this game up because, like I said, Kawhi didn't play, so it's kind of hard to kind of say was it sort of like a evenly match. But look, Daganov, I think that's how you say his name, is making a very good case for Coach of the Year so far.
Yeah, and we talked about what a job that he did last year, getting the Oklahoma City Thunder to the play-in tournament, which no one expected. This year, they they have taken another step, having a top 4 record in the Western Conference. Like you said, can they keep it up? We'll see. But they're not going to go away quietly, as they have perhaps the best group of ensemble young talent in the NBA.
All right, Minnesota, speaking of, they beat the Lakers 118-111. And the Lakers have won lost, I should say, 4 of their last 5 since winning the in-season tournament. And it's something kind of afoot with them.
Yeah, I know LeBron James missed last night's game, taking a rest day. I know their next game, I believe, is tonight. We'll see when we go through the schedule. I know they play on Christmas Day on Monday against the Boston Celtics. But Anthony Davis, he did well last night carrying the team after having a subpar game against the Bulls on Wednesday. But as we talked about before, Lakina, for this Lakers team, it's other guys that have to step up. The only one that's been doing it consistently is Austin Rivers. D'Angelo Russell, he disappeared on Wednesday against the Bulls. Last night against his former team, I don't know what he did. I don't have it in front of me, but he's been in and out. Also, too, you have Jerry Vanderbilt. I know the guy Gabe Vincent, the former Miami Heat player, back from the injury list last week, and so other guys going to have to step in and step up to help out LeBron and AD and Austin Rivers.
That definitely, especially do consistently too. I think that's been the problem too. They haven't been doing it consistently, and I think that's kind of another game. Going back to some of these games from Wednesday, you got Boston beating Sacramento. The Clippers edged out the Mavs. Of course, we talked about the Bulls and the Lakers. The Knicks, Knicks have been playing pretty well lately too. Julius Randle, 26 points, 121, 102 over the Nets. And I know that some Knicks fans are kind of like they're starting to talk that trash again. They're 16-11 now, and of course, like I said, Randall's been playing a lot better, averaging about 22 points per game those last 6 games, and they're 16-11 as we're recording this. And what do you think about the Knicks' chances, perhaps, of maybe, I don't know, they're not going to be up there with Philly and Milwaukee and Boston, but they could definitely be right there in that mid tier.
Yeah, this is the position that they were at a year ago. I know they won 47 games in the regular season last year. I know they beat Cleveland in that first round of the playoffs last year before bowing out to Miami in the next round, partially due to injuries to Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. But this year, they're going to deal with some injuries. Again, I know Mitchell Robinson, their big guy. The Bulls were last summer. He's out. But as you mentioned, Julius Randle has stepped up. Jalen Brunson, rather. He dropped a 50-piece against the Suns about a week ago at this time. So he's playing at a high level. But there's other guys that RJ Barrett is going to have to step up, and some of the other guys coming off the bench that's going to have to step up as well. You saw that what they did to the Lakers on the road on Tuesday, which that was a huge confidence booster for them. And as you mentioned, them coming back to New York, even though it was a road game, they beat Brooklyn. So they're on a nice little winning streak. Let's see if they can keep it going. Especially look at those teams around where they're at right now in the middle of the pack of the Eastern Conference. You talk about those teams like the Knicks, the Heat. The Cleveland Cavaliers, who the Bulls play tomorrow night, they've been battling injuries all year long. And maybe we could put the Pacers up there too, and the Atlanta Hawks. So the Knicks, I'm not going to say they can sneak up to that 4th spot. I think it's too premature. But if they can just keep winning at a slightly above 500 pace, I think they'll be there. They can have the home court advantage again in the first round like they did a year ago.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like I say they can avoid more injuries. I know Robinson is out. That he's a big part of their bench. So that might come back to haunt them. So we'll see what happens there. Now, Philadelphia, I guess they took it out with the losers of Bulls on Monday. They took it out on Minnesota, 127-113. They beat. I guess Embiid wasn't very happy. He scored 51. Tyrese Maxey kicked in with 35. This is actually no other NBA team, no other duo in the NBA so far has had multiple non-overtime games in which one scored 50 plus and the other scored 35 plus. They've done it like multiple times, and Embiid already has 8 over for his last 8 games over for the Sixers. He has averaged over 41 points, just under 13 rebounds, and 61.5% made attempts from the field. So that's a really that's a best stat in the 8-game span. So B's making a early case for MVP.
And this is the healthiest he's been over the last 2 years. Remember, 2 years ago, I was talking about him maybe perhaps getting the MVP in that shortened 72-game season. I believe he played in 50 452, something like that. If he would have stayed healthy in that year, he would have gotten his first MVP at that time. But right now, Philadelphia has to take advantage of Embiid's healthy because you don't know when he's going to break down again. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but when Embiid gets hurt and he's out for longer stretches of time, that team struggles. So as we said before, we'll say it again, who's going to be that third wheel for the Philadelphia 76ers? Of course, James Harden's not there anymore. I know you have Tyrese Maxey as your number 2, but Tobias Harris, it's time for you to step up. Also, too, Patrick Beverley, I don't expect him to score 20 points a game, but he's bringing that energy off the bench, especially defensively, where the Philadelphia lacks at times. So who's going to be that third wheel? I know Nicholas Batum, that veteran, is still there. I don't expect much out of him at the stage of his career because he's a double-digit year veteran. So who's going to be that third wheel? That question is still yet to be answered.
Yeah, you saw what happened with the Bulls. Those, like I said, Maxey and Embiid, they did all the scoring and no one else showed up. So, like I said, the Bulls are.
That's that problem right now.
Yeah, that's been the big issue. Well, we'll see what happens there. I mean, Boston with a nice bounce back win over Sacramento on Wednesday night. This after losing a tough one to Golden State in overtime, 132-126. Steph had 33 points. I think he scored the last 8 points of those overtimes. So for me, I think that overtime. So I think Steph is showing you why he's still, even at his 36, he's actually still shooting at a high level. It's it's amazing to me, and he said a little night thing. Yeah, I don't know how that started, but I mean, just a really nice show, and the Warriors really needed that win.
I want to talk about Klay Thompson for a minute, Lakina. Remember we talked about last week on the show after the substitute guys inside the NBA last week talked about how Klay Thompson should be moved to the bench. Ever since that comment last week, Klay Thompson has had 2 24-point games, 1 30-point game, and of course you mentioned the performance on Tuesday, which we had 24. He had 1 28-point game as well. Klay Thompson has really stepped up his shooting, and on Tuesday, Lakina, he had some really big shots down the stretch in regulation. And, of course, Steph Curry took it over in overtime. But Klay Thompson has really responded to the challenge, Lakina. He says, hey, don't throw dirt on me just yet. I'm still finding myself. I still got that touch. And he's definitely playing his best stretch of basketball so far in this season.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that comment kind of woke him up. I think he didn't take I remember him saying, I think after one of those games, he didn't take too kindly to that comment. So, I'm sure he probably used it as motivation. And look, I said, the Warriors really need that win against Boston because after, some of the struggles they've had, with, Draymond, his antics and all that. So, that for me is really kind of like what woke this team up. So, yeah, we'll see if they can, build on that and, can go on from there because I really think that the Warriors, like I said, I'm not leaving them for dead just yet. So I'm thinking they could definitely, make a little bit of a run here, and we'll see what happens. Milwaukee, no trouble with San Antonio. And Memphis, of course, we talked about that better space with Ja. So both we had some really very, very thrilling games on TNT on Tuesday.
Yeah, I want to go back to that Warriors Celtics game for just a moment. One, Chris Paul, as we talked about on our last couple of shows, he's played very well for the Warriors so far this season. But did you catch the Steph Curry 5th foul early in that second half I believe it was against Jaylen Brown, and Steve Kerr quickly went to a video review and they got and the call was not overturned and Steph Curry got 5 fouls. I found that to be very interesting. First of all, Steve Kerr letting Steph Curry play with 4 fouls into the second half, which is totally mind-boggling to me. I know he's the big star on the team, but let him play with 4 fouls. I didn't get it. But number 2, maybe this is a conspiracy theorist in me. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do play one on TV and radio from time to time. But then you think with them, even though that they kept, I thought that the replay system was going to reverse the call. They didn't. Steph Curry had 5 fouls, but didn't you find it interesting that the league really wanted to reverse the call, but they couldn't? I thought that it should have let that one go because certain players get treatment all the time. But I found it interesting, and they kept the call the way it was and let Steph Curry play with 5 fouls. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think they did. I think that's probably why they did it. They didn't want to show that they were showing favoritism. Luckily, look, Steph was able to kind of stay on. And of course, he did what he did, through the last few minutes of overtime. So I didn't really have an issue with that. And I kind of think, look, I guess they got to show that we don't always show favoritism to the superstars. So I think that's probably why they did that. And yeah, like I said, it'll be interesting to see if the Warriors can kind of keep it going here, because that was a really big win that they needed against Boston. So for me, I think that was kind of what it was. So yeah, it's gonna get interesting to guys. We get closer and closer, because we got some Christmas games coming up as we go into the schedule, going into the long Christmas weekend. Tomorrow you got Milwaukee and New York. That's going to be the ABA TV early matinee game at 11:30 a.m. Central Time.
Tonight's schedule?
Yeah. Well, tonight's schedule. Well, my bad. got a little
Friday.
With the Christmas games, Toronto and Philadelphia. We'll see if B can keep up his scoring run. Denver and Brooklyn, that should be interesting at 6:30 on NBA TV. Atlanta and Miami, that's at 7:00. Dallas and Houston, that should be an interesting one between the battle of the Texas teams. Washington and Golden State, that's going to be the 9:00 ESPN doubleheader, because they got a bowl game before that time as well.
They're returning Jordan Poole, but Jerry Montgomery won't be there to greet him.
That would have been interesting. And Phoenix should be a good one here, though. Phoenix is, this next game, I'm probably watching this one. Phoenix and Sacramento, and also at 9:00.
All right, now let's go to Saturday's schedule. The day before Christmas Eve, of course, we mentioned the Cleveland Cavaliers traveling to Chicago to take on the Bulls at the UC. That's a Saturday night contest at 7:00. Here's the rest of the schedule for Saturday. Like Lakina mentioned, we have a matinee game. This is the first of two games between the Milwaukee Bucks and the New York Knicks. Of course, another early Saturday afternoon game will feature the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Clippers. I'll definitely will be up to watch this one in early Saturday afternoon affair. The rest of the Saturday schedule looks like this. Denver's at Charlotte. Orlando is at Indiana. Houston visits New Orleans. Memphis visits Atlanta. The Pistons will continue to lose as they'll travel to New York to take on the Brooklyn Nets. Utah is at Toronto. The Los Angeles Lakers will visit OKC. The Spurs will take on the Mavericks in the Battle of Texas. The Trailblazers will visit the Golden State Warriors by the Bay Area. And the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Sacramento Kings will do battle in the capital city of California. That should be an exciting game.
Yeah, the battle of the two up-and-coming young teams. That should be a fun one there. No games on Christmas Eve. That's the usual tradition, because there are 5 games on Christmas Day. First up, on ESPN, you got the second game of that. We're not repeating what Sid said. They are playing 2 games. Milwaukee and New York. Mm-hmm. That's at 11:00. That's the early game. These next 2 games are going to be simulcast on both ABC and ESPN. You got Golden State and Denver. That should be a fun one at 1:30. You got Boston and the Lakers. Of course, these two rivals always, always have it happening. So we'll see. LeBron should be able to back for this game. He loves playing on Christmas as well. Philadelphia and Miami on ESPN at 7. And the late game, you got Dallas and Phoenix at 9:30.
All right, in the schedule for Tuesday, it looks like this. Atlanta will visit Chicago to take on the Bulls at the United Center. The Nets and Pistons will do better once again. The Magic and the Wizards, Orlando at Washington. You have Indiana at Houston. Memphis will travel back to New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. Minnesota will visit OKC, Oklahoma City. Utah will take on San Antonio. Sacramento will visit Portland. And the Charlotte Hornets will play the Los Angeles Clippers. That's the Tuesday nightcap on NBA TV. And that's your schedule for this extended Christmas holiday weekend.
All right, so we're going to take a really quick break, of course. We're going to, hour one of the books, we're going to come up with hour 2. Of course, we'll be doing some college hoops, some big games coming up this weekend. Of course, we'll talk about the Bulls Ring of Honor. We didn't get a chance to talk about that the last couple of weeks. And, of course, some of the big games coming up from the NFL Week 16, some playoff scenarios that are really long. So we'll try to simplify it for you. And a couple of Super Bowl previews. And two young up-and-comer number 1 picks meet up last night here in Chicago. That was a lot of fun. I want a buddy comedy between those two. We'll tell you guys more about that after the break. In the hour 2, coming up next, Lakina McGee, Sydney Brown, Second Seed Sports on Chicago. More hoops talk coming up right after this.
No, I don't know though. I'm scared.
know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
Hi, I'm Tom Brady, the director of DODEA. September is National Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. The simple act of reaching out and caring for those in our communities is something we all can do. Just being there for someone you care about can be a tremendous first step in getting them access to confidential resources and support that they need. It only takes one person and one small act and 1 minute to make a difference. Let's make a difference.
Move it! Yes, sir!
Many will hear the calling. Few will earn the title. United States Marine. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Second City Sports on this hashtag Football Friday edition. We're live in the living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. I'm Sid. That's Sakina. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter, X, and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow my Keaton McGee on the Twitter, X, at Keaton's going on IG.
We have less than an hour left of this extravaganza we call a Sports Talk radio show. If you have any questions or comments for us, you can always find us at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or at Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in those questions and comments in the comments section. Makino will get them up on the screen for you. And just a daily reminder, you can catch Sports Zone Chicago now available on Roku TV.
All right, so let's spend these next, 10, 15 minutes talking about some college hoops now. I know you've been kind of keeping an eye on it a little bit. Of course, we were getting close to, as finishing up, non-conference and holiday tournament. So what caught your eye this weekend in college hoops? This week in college hoops, I should say.
Oh, the Memphis Tigers and Penny Hardaway, my guy. Yay! I didn't think they were going to win this game, but they definitely showed me something as they beat the Virginia Cavaliers by the score of 77-54. Caleb Mills added 11 points, while David Jones added 26 points. Lakina, this Memphis team, I know they had 12 turnovers for the entire game, but they outplayed Virginia, especially in that second half as they pulled away from the top-seeded Cavaliers. Of course, now Memphis has improved their record to 9-2 overall. But for the game, they shot the ball well, 46% overall, 39% from three. I know they tied Virginia in the stat category with 32 rebounds, but I thought they were very aggressive defensively, especially in that second half when they pulled away. Both the teams were trying to find themselves in that first half, very competitive. But I think that the home court advantage did it for Memphis, and they stepped it up defensively. That's why they were able to pull away and dominate the Virginia like they did. No one saw this coming. I know I didn't, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, David Jones is one of his Penny's coach Hardaway's senior leaders. 28 points. He's one of their leading scorers, so he's been one of the reasons why Memphis is where they are right now at 9-2. And look, I didn't think they were. I thought it was going to be a low scoring game because you know how Virginia likes to kind of slow it down a little bit. But no. Well, look, Memphis was able to get them to play their style, and and unfortunately for Virginia, they couldn't keep up. So look, they go to 9-2, and yeah, I mean, look, I know Penny and them are probably going to be going up in the regular season. I know they got a tough game coming up this weekend, but I like where they're playing at right now. This is a very good solid Memphis squad. So yeah, that was a really nice win for them on Tuesday. Providence upset Marquette, the Flying Shaka Smarts, 72-57. We talked about Marquette. I know Marquette's one of those teams where they depend on the three a little bit too much for my taste. So I'm a little concerned as it comes to March. They got a bad shooting night, and we saw what happened against Purdue. But against Purdue. So yeah, the reporter kind of let them down in Maui. James Madison, they stay undefeated. They beat Coppin State, no trouble with them. Ole Miss also, they stay undefeated. They beat Troy. Let's see. I know USC beat Alabama State. Florida in a thriller over Michigan. I watched on this game in double overtime. That was a really fun battle between these two. I think this is one of the first times they played in basketball. We've seen a couple of times play each other in football in bowl games, but it's like one of their first basketball meetings in a while. So that was a nice win for Mike White and that Gators program. They were playing pretty solid lately. Want to go to Wednesday's game for a second. Seton Hall upsets UConn. UConn had been undefeated by that point, and just Sheen Holloway got his guys going, and of course, they were forward too. Is technically, Holloway had already graduated by the time Danny Hurley got there. I think they're a couple of years older, but this is actually his first time going back to Seton Hall to Coach Hurley, and Coach Holloway got his guys playing very well right now.
Another team that's definitely playing very well after a tough loss last week is that was the North Carolina Tar Heels in that Jordan Jumpman Invitational. They beat Porter Moser's Oklahoma Sooners by the score of 81-69. RJ Davis had 23 points. Carolina shot the ball well, 43% overall, 40% from three. They really got it going in that second half, Lakina. It was very competitive in that first half. You could tell that Porter Moses' crew, and we saw what he did here in Chicago with the Loyola Ramblers. He has that same attitude with his Oklahoma Sooners, but the talent of the Tar Heels really took over in that second half.
Yeah, that 3-point shot really helped the Tar Heels, and I think they felt a little bit of a presence there. Of course, we talked about Aaron Montrose' death. The North Carolina legend who passed away earlier this week. I think I heard Coach Davis, Hubert Davis, say they kind of fed off that. So, that was a really nice win. Giving Oklahoma their first loss of the season. So, North Carolina played a little bit better. I mean, look, they missed the tournament last year. That was tough for them. They've been playing very well. They'll probably be a little bit in the top 10 by the time the next packets come out. Right before Christmas, and they've been. You gotta give them credit. Got Hubert Davis and his guys credit. Duke got a nice win over Baylor. I know if you're a Baylor, you want to put those the last two games like out the window because. But look, Duke. Duke, they made the shots they needed to. Jared McCain, I should say, who's one of the first recruits for for Coach Shire, John Shire. He had 21 points. I think like 9 assists. Made some big threes for Duke because it was very close, near right before the end of that, near the middle of that second half. But Duke made some big shots, and the defense, helped them out.
Yeah, let's give John Shire credit, Lakina. I'm not going to say I like Duke, because Coach K's not there, but it's something different and something positive in the air about that program. I'm not saying I'm becoming a Duke fan, anything like that, but I think I said this to you last year when we thought they were going to make it a deep run into the tournament. It didn't happen, but something about that Duke team that I like, maybe it's just that negative air that's gone away from them right now. You can actually respect them. Like I said, I'm not becoming a Cameron crazy, anything foolish like that, but John Shire has brought a different attitude to that program. Nothing at a national championship level yet. I think they'll be there within the next year or two, but maybe it's just me. From an outside looking in, you can't really hate Duke like you once did. I know some people are still going to hold on to that forever because they've been good for so long, but I don't get that sense here since he's taken over for the last couple of years.
No, I think they. I don't know if they. I don't know if that he's made them likable, but I think he's definitely made them, people tolerate Duke. I guess, because the way the team
That's the
kind
best
of
way to
carries.
put it. Yeah.
Yeah, the team kind of carries themselves. McCain, who I talked about, is a very charismatic kid. He likes, he likes having fun, so that helps them a little bit. So yeah, I think they've made him. I think he's definitely made him more like a okay. You know what? I'll root for Duke every once in a while. I will probably won't tell anybody that. That's kind of the way where I think a lot of people feel about that. Arizona, no trouble with Alabama, beating them 87-74 in the Hall of Fame Classic series there in Phoenix. And Villanova, their first big upset in the post Jay Wright era, they beat Creighton 68-66 in overtime. And I saw this game, and it was definitely a thriller. Eric Dixon, he made it the go ahead three. At 32 points was a season high for him. They go to 8-4. Their first, kind of like you could say they're kind of their first really big win. And I said before about Creighton, and I was saying that their 3-point shot, let them down. They only had 5 for 24 from 3-point range. This is why I get very little antsy. This same thing with Illinois and same thing with the couple of teams we talked about earlier. Saying I get very antsy. People demand another three. That got to bite you in the butt. Yeah. And they saw what happened against Creighton in overtime.
Yeah, when you depend on the three a little bit too much, especially when you make them early, you think you can just keep going to the well. But when you start missing shots, always say, go to the free throw line, be aggressive, draw fouls, get to the free throw line. That's how you get back into the game. But, you live by the jump shot, you die by the jump shot. And most of these teams don't learn when they do. If they do at all, it's too late.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyle Neptune, who's been the second year there. Of course, he was there for both those national championships. So he's definitely starting to put his stamp on the program. So I like this is like I said, their first big win, post Coach Wright. And they can build on that too. Look, it's gonna get tough in the Big East. I mean, there's gonna be St. John's, Rick Pitino's guys playing very well too. So yeah, it's gonna get tough in the Big East, with them and Marquette and just a lot of very interesting, just very interesting elements in that conference. So, anything else caught your eye this week in college hoops before we go back to the schedule?
I was going to ask you about Villanova. I know they're starting off year 2 without Jay Wright, who's doing great work for CBS. How good do you think they can be this year? Do you think they can make a surprise run at the Big East title?
You know what? I think that they beat Creighton. I think, especially in Creighton, that place in Omaha is not an easy place to play. So the fact that they were able to beat them in their house, that's a nice little thing. Like I said, for Kyle Neptune, that new. He's his second year there, but like I said, they're starting to put a stamp on the program. I feel like I don't know if they'll be up there. They can definitely be there because you got your Marquette, you got Creighton, you got UConn. They got kind of second. They're kind of I would say they're that second tier with Providence and St. John's. Not DePaul's near the bottom. We won't talk about that, but but yeah, I mean, I think they could definitely be near that second tier. I think they can.
All right, we'll see what happens there. All right, like you mentioned, let's go to the schedule in the top 25 for tonight. We'll just read off some of the important games here. Number 6 Marquette will host Georgetown. That's tonight at 6 o'clock Chicago time on FS1. You have Kansas, number 2 Kansas hosting Yale. That's on ESPN Plus at 7 o'clock. Of course, Chicago State, yes, the 7-9 Southside Chicago State Cougars. Mm-hmm. They'll travel up north to Madison, Wisconsin to face the number 24 ranked Wisconsin Badgers. That's at 7 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. And Missouri and Illinois will do their annual battle.
Yes.
The number 13 Illinois, they'll host Missouri. I believe that game is still in St. Louis this year.
Yes, yes, it is. Yes.
It'll be on FS1 tonight at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, the bragging rights game. I know.
Big game for Illinois. Big game here.
Yeah, huge. Yeah, I mean, look, Mizzou, I think they need a big win to kind of put in their resume too. So yeah, this just should be a good one here. And like I said, it's been back and forth these last couple of years between these two. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Georgia Tech and Hawaii. That's in the Hawaii Rainbow Classic in their house. I'm talking about Hawaii's house. So on ESPN2 it's at 10 o'clock. I'll be up for that one. I love watching games in Hawaii. It's so much fun. Seeing all the colors and stuff. Love it. Of course, Baylor should be able to beat Mississippi Valley State. That game's probably just what the doctor ordered after those last two losses against Michigan State and Duke. They definitely need that one. Going into tomorrow's matchups.
Saturday.
It's Saturday. Yep. Butler and Providence at 11 a.m. on FS1. Let's see here. Oh, interesting one here on Fox. You got Arizona and Florida Atlantic at 2 o'clock. This is actually a rematch of when but yeah, it's a rematch when they lost to Arizona. They beat Arizona. I'm talking about Florida Atlantic during the tournament last year. No, actually they didn't lose the tournament this year, but yeah, they actually got in. The Final Four in the same region Arizona was in. So I'm sure Arizona wants that a little bit of revenge in their minds. That should be a fun when they're at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, and Villanova, speaking of the Wildcats, they'll travel to Chicago to face the DePaul Blue Demons at Wintrust Arena. That's tomorrow, Saturday at 3 o'clock. And you can see that game on FS1. And if my computer just stops acting up, you also have St. John's and number 5 UConn. They'll face each other in the Big East battle tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. That's on the Big Fox, Saturday night, primetime hoops.
Oh, that should be a lot of fun. The veteran Bertino against Danny Hurley. Of course, Danny Hurley already has a championship on his resume. So yeah, that's they're playing the Rainbow Classic. They're finishing up that. So no games. Virtually like no games for the most part on Tuesday. Sunday, Monday, nor Tuesdays. Everybody's finishing up their Christmas break. So yeah, that is your schedule for this weekend, the long weekend in college hoops.
You're listening to Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago, the hashtag Football Friday edition. Happy holidays to everyone out there. I'm Sid. That's Lakina. Let's now turn into the world of football. The Bears and Cardinals will get out on the lakefront Sunday at 3:25. Lakina, I'm not going to talk about the draft pick bowl because that's a bunch of BS, and I don't care about it. We have all season to talk about the Bears draft picks, but you said that with these next 2 games for the Bears coming up, of course, this Sunday against Arizona and next week when they host Atlanta, these are the final 2 home games for the Bears this season. They could lose one of them. We'll give you our picks during our next break, but what's the percentage of that you give Arizona of upsetting the Bears this Sunday, because they have a healthy Kyler Murray now?
I don't want to say they have no chance. I mean, we've seen some of the weirdness that has happened, especially in the last couple of weeks. So I'm not going to say that they'd have 0 chance. I mean, this Bears team have shown us that they can't be trusted. So I know look, I know Arizona's going to be without some of their key guys. I know they're a couple, like one of their leading rushers. I think he's they're mainly the rusher. I think he's out. So that might help the Bears a little bit in that front. Look, Kyler Murray, you saw what happened last year. Marquise Brown is his leading receiver. He's out. I mean, there's no reason why the Bears shouldn't, handle the Cardinals, but then again, you never know. So, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to figure this out. I mean, Bubba Baker, I mean, he could be a factor with the receivers, with Mooney and with Clement. So he's a Pro Bowler, so he might be a guy to watch out for on the defensive side for Arizona. They're playing at 3:15, so that might help Arizona a little bit there. They're not playing at noon, so that could help them a little bit. It's more close to where they usually play, so that could be a factor there. Weather shouldn't be an issue. I know it's gonna be a little bit hazy, in Chicago here in Chicago on Sundays, and it'll be a little bit warmer too, in the 40s. So weather won't be an issue there,
especially at this time of year.
Right. So I know if you're Atlanta, I know you're Arizona, you're probably feeling pretty happy that you're playing. You're gonna be in those conditions, but. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why the Bears shouldn't handle handle the Cardinals, but then again, you never know. You still got Rondell Moore, who's still pretty good. The receiving side, James Conner, we'll see. The run defense of the Bears actually pretty good, but look, Conner's one of the best, running backs in the league. So yeah, I honestly don't know what's going to happen in this game. If you know, tell me, because I have no clue.
The 2 things that concerns me about this Sunday's game, and I'm coming at it from the Bears' perspective. One, will offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, by any means necessary, he should be gone by the end of the year. But I digress from that point. Will this Bears offense open up against a quote-unquote lesser defensive opponent in the Arizona Cardinals? Will Justin Fields, quote-unquote, have his way? And will the Bears run the ball? Number 2, we know that the Bears throughout recent history, into a lesser extent, going back to the 05-06 team, of course, with the 06 team reaching the Super Bowl, The Bears recently, over the last 15 years, have not done well defensively against scrambling quarterbacks. As you mentioned, Kyler Murray, he's back from his torn ACL. He's put up some interesting numbers as he finally getting his game back. But Montez Sweat has done well ever since GM Ryan Post have acquired him at the trade deadline for the Washington Commanders. He's been a difference maker on that defensive front. Javon Dexter Sr. has stepped up his play as well. We know what they did against Cleveland as a unit last week, but I wonder, can they put up that type of effort again against a scrambling quarterback in Kyler Murray who can really make plays running out of the pocket?
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the key if you're the Bears. I mean, look, we know the run defense has been really good, but we've seen what they do, what they don't do against scrambling quarterbacks. And we know that I know that Murray still we're struggling. I know Jonathan Gann doesn't want him to run the ball too much because he's still recovering from the ACL, but. I think if he wants to kind of show people that, hey, look, I'm still, I'm still here. I'm still, that guy. I mean, we'll see what happens. Now for the Bears, I mean, look, there shouldn't be any excuses for this. I mean, this should be a team they should be able to beat pretty easily, like I said. But again, they've given me no reason to trust them. So basically, it's a free for all. There, but like I said, I don't feel Phillips will get his due. We'll do his thing because that run defense for Arizona. But I know that Komet's a little bit banged up, but he shouldn't have a problem. On the defensive side, I mean, this could be a good chance for Sweat and Edmonds and Edwards, and Jalen Johnson and Justin Jones to try to kind of slow down James Conner, Rondell Moore, and the rest of that group, and again, no excuses. They should be able to dominate this team. But then again, I have no idea. Who knows?
We'll see what happens on Sunday. That kickoff's at 3:25 on the lakefront. You can watch that game on Fox in America's lesser game of the week. All right, Lakina, Thursday night football brought us the Los Angeles Rams and the New Orleans Saints. The Rams come out on top 30-22. The Saints trailed most of throughout the contest. They woke up their offense woke up in the fourth quarter, scoring 15 points, but the Rams held on from the win. Kyron Williams for the Rams, he ran the ball 22 times for 104 yards and a touchdown. Puka Nacua for the Rams, 9 catches, 164 yards and a score. Matthew Stafford, 328 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Are you taking the Rams seriously, Lakina, to make a playoff push? They're now 8-7 on the year.
Yeah, I mean, Kyler Williams, he already has like a little over 100 rushing yards. That's the first Ram to do that since Todd Gurley all the way back in 2018. Also too for Matt Stafford. I mean, he's going for 300 plus yards while targeting no more than 4 receivers because he didn't have all that with those receivers. But Jim Kelly did it way back in 92. Where he threw for 308 yards. Targeting Andre Reed, James Lofton, Thurman Thomas, and Steve Tasker. I think they're pretty dangerous. I'm talking about the Rams. I mean, they've been very solid. Look, when Matt Stafford's healthy, he's one of the league, most elite quarterbacks in the league. So that's, I think, just showing you why. That's just showing you why right there. And look, Nakua's been very solid. They haven't been able to slow him down. 164 receiving yards. That's incredible. Cooper Kupp, got his touches in. Tyler Higbee as well. Like I said, DeMarcus Robinson. Those are only 4 receivers that Stafford threw to. And look, I think the defense. I mean, look, is Aaron Donald like what he used to be? No, but he can still get you. So So yeah, I mean, I think they could be a very dangerous team. And look at their schedule for the Rams. They actually, I don't want to say they have an easy schedule. You don't want to say there's an easy schedule in the NFL, but their last 2 games, they got to go at the Giants. And then they finish up against the 49ers, and that's we'll see what the 49ers are. I mean, look, could Kyle Shanahan sit some of his guys that could already have the number 1 seed in the NFC by then? So that could mean a lot for maybe a playoff position for them. So I think they're becoming that team where you may not Buffalo on the AFC side, and I think the Rams on the NFC side, you probably don't want to play them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'll speak on the Rams first. I think the trap game for them is next week at the New York Giants. Of course, the Giants are down right now. They don't have anything to play for. And we see this every year. Like, these teams that have no chance of going to the playoffs, they play free and easy, and they upset some teams. That either they change their playoff positioning or they had them knocked out of the playoffs altogether. So I can see the Giants possibly doing that to the Rams. But should the Rams get by the Giants on the road next week, like you said, they do come home in week 18 for the 49ers. Assuming that the 49ers have that number 1 seed wrapped up, will Kyle Shanahan rest his guys so he can give them, quote unquote, 2 weeks off? Or will he play them at least for a half because he knows on the other side, if the Rams get into the playoffs, they become a dangerous team. The 49ers may have to face them down the road.
And well, look, I mean, I know people already kind of set up a story for where Matt Stafford faces former team Detroit during the playoffs. So, still a little bit of ways, from now, or we'll figure that out. But yeah, I mean, the Rams are very dangerous. So yeah, that Giants game next week could be a trap game. But they'll have 10 days off. And look, Sean McVay will make sure his guys are ready. So I'm not too worried about that game. For them, as the Second City Sports on Sports Chicago, like Keenan McGee, Sydney Brown with you. As we finish up, we still got a few more minutes here, Mr. Brown. And what big matchups are you seeing? Yeah, as we get go, we'll do our picks till after the break. But what games are you looking forward to this long Christmas weekend?
Let me start with the Lions and the Vikings. Most of the country will get to watch this game on Fox as part of the Fox Sunday doubleheader. I believe most of the folks in Chicago will get that game as well. Mm-hmm. Of course, the Vikings are hanging on for dear life as far as the playoff chase is concerned. The Lions, with this win, will clinch the NFC North as most expected for them to do before the season kicked off. Jared Goff with 26 touchdown passes and 10 interceptions on the year. David Montgomery has over 855 rushing yards and 10 rushing touchdowns on the year. Amon-Ra St. Brown is their go-to guy. But quarterback issues that plagued the Vikings all year long. I know Kirk Cousins is out. Josh was a nice story for the couple weeks he was there. Then he got gained by Mullins. Minnesota had a nice start at Cincinnati last week, but they blew it at the end. But the Detroit Lions obviously has something to play for. I know the division is not what they're going. It's not just their only goal, but they could possibly grab a number 2 seed. I know they're, I believe, number 3 right now, but they have a realistic outside shot to grab the number 2 seed. It depends on what Philadelphia and Dallas do these next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting too. I think the Lions, I know with that I think that kind of woke them up. That Bears loss game woke them up. So we'll see if they can win against the Vikings because, like you said, they had a shot, to perhaps the Vikings did perhaps putting themselves in the driver's seat. They couldn't hang on against Cincy. So, we'll see what happens there. Now, my game that I'm looking forward to is a possible Super Bowl preview. It'll be on Christmas nights on Monday Night Football. You got the Ravens and the 49ers. And I'm going to tell you why. After that, Seahawks upsetting the Eagles, the underdogs are now 7-0 over the last 6 games on Monday Night Football. That's the most, ever, I guess, as they started doing this. That including both underdogs winning, week 14, and they were 2 games. Of course, you're talking about the Titans and the Giants, the week before. That's the longest streak of underdog wins outright in Monday Night Football history. So I'm not gonna look. I'm just saying this for purposes, but I really think that this could be one of those times where, look, I think the Ravens stayed out west, so I don't know they travel back, back to Baltimore, then back to, I think they stayed out there out west, but I feel like this could be one of those things where, like, if they need to get a hot start early. Don't let the 49ers, try to, get your running backs, get Gus Edwards, get the rest of those running backs to, keep pushing the ball. I know OBJ is a little bit banged up. Get them to kind of, go down the field, keep Purdy and McCaffrey and Debo and the rest of those 49ers offense off the field. For me, that's going to be the key for them in this game.
Also, too, I think another key will be for the Baltimore Ravens defense to slow down Christian McCaffrey. He's one of the best running backs in the league. He's a dual threat, not just running the ball, especially in between the tackles, but he can catch the ball, come out of the backfield. But I'm looking forward to George Kittle having a big game. The middle of that Ravens defense is, I know they have the great linebacking core led by Roquan Smith, the former Chicago Bear. I want to see that matchup between him and George Kittle. I think George Kittle is due for a big game. I want to see how he does against those linebackers.
Could be a breakout game for Kittle. I think he hasn't had one in the last few weeks. I know he'll spread out the ball, but I know he's probably itching for like that breakout game that we know and love from Kittle. So it should be a fun one there. All right, so Sid, we're gonna be ready for our week 16 picks in NFL. We got our girl Christine Manica's picks from KSRB. She's not gonna be able to join us today, so Merry Christmas to her and her fiance Chris and their families. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We'll talk about the Ring of Honor for the Bulls. We'll talk about two number one picks hooking up. And having a bromance. I think it's something I didn't think we needed, but I think now I want a buddy move between these two. I can keep saying it until I get it. But yeah, a lot to do still. Lakita McGee, Sydney Brown, Second City Sports on Sports Chicago. Our pick up some more coming up right after this.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I needed for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class.
These colored pencils, too. These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver.
I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov, a public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Sean and Maya in the morning.
Welcome back to Second City Sports on the hashtag Football Friday edition. We're live in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. Happy holidays, everyone. I'm Sid. That's Lakina. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter, X, and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow my Keaton McGee on the Twitter, X, and going in the IG.
This is our last break of the show for today and for this long Christmas holiday weekend. So if you have any last minute questions or comments for us, you can always find us at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or at Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in those questions or comments in the comments section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you.
All right, Sid. As we get the picks up here, I thought I had them up, but yeah. You gained the game on Christine.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of a distance from her.
How many?
Her, yeah. About just one. Yeah, you still up like 3 games. So
Okay.
you gained a game you gained a game on me too. So hush. But yeah, so going through this game here. Hopefully, this thing doesn't want to cooperate here. I got the schedule up. Okay, we're gonna start with the Saturday games here. The first game this will be on NBC. You got the Bengals and the Steelers about the AFC North.
The Bengals will be without their star wide receiver Jamar Chase. They are favored by 3 points on the road. As I mentioned, they beat Minnesota at home last week in overtime to improve their record to 8-6. The Steelers are trending in the wrong direction, going down. They're 7-7. I think Cincinnati still has a little bit more talent than Pittsburgh does. Mason Rudolph will get the start for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Good luck with that. Just because of that alone, and Cincinnati has still a little bit more talent, especially on the defensive front. I'm going with the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like, I don't think that's going to make a lot of difference, switching to Rudolph. Because that offense, you can tell that, George Pickens, he won't be quiet, and then all the other stuff's been going on. So, I'm picking the Bengals too, and I think, I would be surprised if this is I don't want to say this is going to be, there usually aren't any blowouts when these two teams play, but this might be the case here. So, we might be seeing a blowout. This might be over by halftime. And, of course, our girl Christine agrees with us. She is also picking Cincy. So we're all on the same boat on that front. Okay, now this game will be exclusively streamed on Peacock. A special note there. So it will be the Bills and the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego, as we call them here. The Bills have been playing very well lately. They had a couple big wins. That big win against Dallas. They basically have to win out, at least to give themselves a shot to get into that playoffs in the AFC. There's no reason why the Chargers are in free fall. There's no reason why they at least won their top defensive guys. So there's no reason why the Bills shouldn't be able to handle this one with the Chargers. So I'm going to pick the Bills. Hopefully they won't have a letdown.
Yeah, no Justin Herbert, no hope, no Brandon Staley, no chance. I'm going with Buffalo here, and the Bills are favored by 12.5.
And Christine agrees. She also has Buffalo. Now going to the Christmas Eve games. Okay, we'll start here. You got the Colts and the Falcons.
The Falcons blew a chance to hold that NFC South Division lead as they lost to Carolina on the road. The Indianapolis Colts continue to improve. They're 8-6, Falcons 6-8. Atlanta's favored by 2.5 points here. I don't trust the Falcons. They don't give the ball to their playmakers enough. They don't have a quarterback. I'm not falling for that garbage, even though they're at home. I'm going with the Colts.
I'm picking the Colts too. I think for the reasons you said, Sid. I mean, unfortunately they've kind of shown you why that they're not trusted. So I'm picking the Colts as well. I'm keeping it short and sweet. And same thing with Christine. She also has the Colts. Right, we're in lockstep. I'll say. I don't think they're. The Falcons. They've kind of shown you that they're not really to be trusted. So I don't think the Colts shouldn't have trouble. I'm saying they shouldn't, but you never know. I'll keep it short with this one. Packers and Panthers. The Packers. I know they want to kind of bounce back from a couple of tough losses. They really need this win to kind of stay. Keep themselves in the hunt for the NFC playoffs. I'm hoping. I know the Panthers won last week, 6-3. Well, yippee, but 9-3, I should say. But I'm picking the Packers. Keep it short. They shouldn't have no trouble with the Panthers. But again, who knows?
I agree with you. I'm going with Green. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going with Green Bay here, and they are favored by 5 points on the road.
Yeah, and Christine, in case you didn't hear me, Christine also has Green Bay. So we're locked up so far in these games. We may have a little bit of decision here. I don't know. There's the Browns and the Texans. Sig, you start this one.
The Browns and the Texans. Okay, Cleveland's favored by 3 points on the road. We saw what they did against the Bears last week. Houston behind Case Keenum. Case Keenum and crew. They beat the Tennessee Titans in overtime. I don't know if C.J. Stroud is going to play or not. We'll see what happens here. The Browns, I know they're doing a little bit by smoking mirrors. I just got this crazy feeling that the Texans is going to try to find a way to pull one out, even though they're the home team. So in a mount upset, I'm going with Houston.
Do you have the Wi-Fi wouldn't hit in now for a second? Who'd you pick?
I'm going with Houston.
Oh, Houston. Okay, you got the Houston. Oh, really? You stole my thunder. Sid. I was going to pick Houston too. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've had this. Look, Case Keenum is a very capable backup. We saw that last week. I think they're going to do just to win this game. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Browns. I know Flacco's been playing very well lately. I just think they kind of backed into that win against the Bears. I'm picking the Texans, and well, Christine, we got our first section though. Christine actually has Cleveland. Well, no, I think TJ. She says she knows that she's going to play. We don't know if he's going to play. That's probably her reasoning for picking. So, but the Browns, I mean, so we'll see what happens there. Of course, we talked about it a few minutes ago. Sid, NFC North battle. You got the Lions and the Vikings. The Vikings. I don't know. I mean, the Nick Mullins. Look, they had their shot to beat Cincy. They couldn't do it. The Lions. I think they're starting to kind of. I think, like I said, I think that Bears game loss. Woke them up a bit. I'm picking the Lions. I think the Lions. It'll be a close one, but I'm picking the Lions here.
I'm going with the Lions too. With the Lions as well. They're favored by 3.
All right, let me see who Christine has. She also, let me see. Oh yeah, she also has the Lions. All right. Next up here on the docket, for CBS, you got the. I feel bad for our boys Proteus because he actually has the game here. The Commanders and the Jets. Someone actually posted a game from, I think it was like from like 30 years ago, where then Washington they beat the Jets 3-0. That might be the case here. I don't know. That might be the case here. Who knows?
That could be the case. I don't know.
Yeah, Zach Wilson is probably gonna be out through concussion protocol. So the Commanders. I think this is Ron Rivera's like last couple weeks as coach. God darn it. Shoot. Let's get ugly real quick. I'll pick the Commanders.
I'll go with the Jets just because the Jets are favored by 3 at home.
All right, the Jets. Okay, all right, you got the Jets. No. I'm not just saying like it's just like, oh yeah, this could be an ugly one.
Who did Christine pick?
Commander. No, she said Commanders and she laughed. Not sure for that one. She got the Commanders as a question mark. She got the Commanders as a question mark. So I don't know, but yeah, this could get ugly real quick. Folks, let's get back on track here. This is just hilarious. All right. Okay. Seahawks and Titans. Oh, a much better game here. I know. You start this one.
I know the Titans are 5-9 and they're eliminated from playoff contention. The Seahawks took advantage of a Philadelphia Eagles gift last week by scoring on that last drive of the game. The Seahawks are favored by 3.5. Remember, they're 0-2 on the road on the East Coast this year. Make it 0-3. I'm going with the Titans.
Ooh, okay. Not too surprised. I know that we'll see if they're still kind of, like I said, they're having that high from that upset win against the Eagles. I know they got to travel cross country, got to play a noon game, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like they're kind of the Seahawks. They know that they're kind of the ball's in their court to get a playoff spot. They basically can win out. I think the Seahawks. I think Drew Lock's been playing very well. They're kind of all in lockstep with Kenneth Walker Jr. the third, and then Jackson Enigma, and of course DK Metcalf, and that the defensive back here from pretty solid. So I think the Seahawks. So is Christine. Christine got the Seahawks as well.
Okay.
All right, a good one here. Now we're in the 3:00 games. Jags and Bucks battle at the Central Florida team. Sid, you start this one.
Big game for both teams. It looks like Jaguars starting quarterback Trevor Lawrence will miss his first career NFL game. What a shame for him. The Buccaneers had a tough win on the road last week. It was a breeze in that second half at Green Bay. Of course, the Jaguars lost at home to the Baltimore Ravens. Tampa's favored by 2.5 here. Just because Trevor Lawrence is out, we don't know what C.J. Beathard, who's going to get the start in his place, will bring. This is a perfect spot for the Buccaneers to take control of the NFC South Division. Baker Mayfield and crew, that offense is rolling for the Tampa Bay Bucks. They should do it again one more time because the Jaguars secondary stinks. I'm going with Tampa Bay at home.
Yeah, Christine has the Jaguars, which I'm a little bit concerned. I think she knew. I think she did this before. She did this before she found out about Trevor Lawrence being out. So that might. I know. Yeah. So that's a tough one there. But yeah, I'm gonna pick the Bucks too. Like I said, the Bucks got a shot. They control their destiny to win the NFC South and get into the playoffs. So yeah, I think the Bucks are doing just enough. And the Jags are in free fall. Easy for me to say. So yeah, I picked the Bucks too. All right. Cowboys and Dolphins, a big game here. I'll be watching this game instead of the other game on Fox. I mean, this will be a shot for both these teams. Okay, both got a lot to prove. Both teams get knocked for not, beating, good teams. So this will be a good shot for them. We'll see if Tyreek Hill is back for the Dolphins. I know the Cowboys, they just got hammered by the Bills last week. I don't know. I guess I'll pick Miami because they're at home. This is really a toss-up. I'm picking Miami, maybe only because they're at home. I guess I don't know.
I'm going with the Cowboys because they got embarrassed last week on the road by the Buffalo Bills. The Dolphins had their way easily with the New York Jets. I think the Dolphins got too comfortable last week because it was a lesser opponent in New York. The Cowboys, I think this is their wake-up call. They averaged 21 points on the road, close to 40 points at home. They're on the road again, but when most teams get embarrassed on the road, they play much better the following week. So I'm going with the Cowboys. Miami's favored by 1, so which means it's at a pick.
Oh yeah, I know Christine feels that way too, looking at her matches there, but she also is picking the Cowboys. So, like I said, this will probably be maybe a Super Bowl preview. Who knows? But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see who gets the edge here. Sunday night on the NFL Network, you got the Patriots and the Broncos. I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm picking the Broncos. I know the Broncos. They had a couple. They had a setback last week, and I feel like the Broncos. I think they wanna. They know that they can have a shot to perhaps get an outside shot of the playoffs. So I think beating the Patriots, I think will do just that. So I think the Broncos should be able to handle the Patriots pretty easily.
Outside of Christie's soon-to-be husband, Chris, who's going to be watching this game outside of Denver? I won't be. But the Broncos, they got embarrassed at Detroit last Saturday night. They'll be in the covers of Mile High Stadium. They're favored by 7, and they'll beat the pants off the Patriots. So I'm going with Denver.
Yeah, she agrees. She's going with the Broncos too, and not just because of Chris. I think there are other factors as well. I think she's picking the Broncos just because they should be able to handle the Patriots pretty easily. Now going to the Monday games, and Christmas, the early game here, the noon games will also be simulcast on Nickelodeon. Noah Eagle and Nate Burrows will have the call here on Nickelodeon. Should be a fun way. You got the Raiders and the Chiefs. The Raiders gave the Chiefs all they can handle back in Las Vegas just a couple weeks ago. And it'll be the same thing here. I think the Raiders will keep it close, but I think the Chiefs will win.
I'm going with Kansas City as well. I want to see them establish a running game. I don't know if Isaiah Pacheco is going to be back for this one, but I want to see Kansas City establish a running game. And we'll see on the flip side what they do for an encore defensively, because as we talked about before, Kansas City's defense has been carrying this team all year, despite the inconsistencies of the Patrick Mahomes and crew on offense.
Yeah, that should. Yeah, and also to Christina agrees. She also has the Chiefs, and also I also have the Chiefs. So, we're even on that first Christmas game. The second one here, so this will be on Fox. The Giants and the Eagles. The Eagles are reeling, and like I said, the particular running game, the Eagles don't have one. So, but. But that's one of the reasons why they've been struggling. I know that there have been some other stuff going on off the field as well. This should be a get right game for the Eagles, especially after just getting embarrassed by Seattle on Monday night in Seattle. I'm picking the Eagles. I'll pick the Eagles.
Philadelphia is favored by 13.5, and I'll also go with the Eagles.
And so is Christine. She also has Eagles as well. The Eagles, as some people call it in Philly. The nightcap in the Monday nighter here. This will be on ABC, ESPN Plus. So no Manicast this Christmas. Sorry, Sid. Another Super Bowl. Yeah, I know. So, I know. Darn it. But yeah, the Super Bowl preview. Perhaps the Ravens and the 49ers.
I'm going with the 49ers here. They are favored by 5.5. The Ravens are a very tough road team, but I don't know how much offense they're going to muster up against San Francisco. Like I said before, and I'll say it again until proven otherwise, the San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the NFL, and they'll show you why in this classic matchup on Monday night.
Yeah, it'll be a classic matchup, but I think the 49ers are just too good right now. That defense, I'm sure Chase Young, of course, is going to want to go for Lamar Jackson and the rest of that defense, and that offense, for the 49ers, that's going to be tough to slow down. Yeah, and that Ravens front seven is good, but they're going to have a first big test. But I think the 49ers, it'll be a close one, but I think the 49ers will pull away late. And Christine agrees. She also has the 49ers. All right, the 3:25 game, the Cardinals and the Bears. Okay, but could have flexed this game to noon, but hey, what do I know? But well, Christine, she has the Bears. Get that out the way. She has the Bears, but like I said, I'll pick the Bears too. I mean, they should win this game. I said should, but again, you never know. So I'm picking the Bears here. They should be able to win this pretty easy. Just really should have a nice going at it. I know we'll see how DJ Moore looks after that ankle injury. I'll get the report, the injury report in a second. I'm sure they'll have that while we're almost done. But yeah, the Bears shouldn't have no trouble with the Cardinals. Maybe.
I'm going with the Bears as well. They are favored by 4.
All right, and that is your schedule for this busy Christmas weekend in the NFL. As this is Second City Sports on Sports Social Chicago. Keenan McGee sitting around with you. Okay, Sid, where do you want to go to first? Do you want to go Ring of Honor? Do you want to go Bedard and Wembanyama hanging out yesterday?
Let's get the Bulls Ring of Honor first.
All right. This came out the last couple of weeks, and we haven't had a chance to talk about it. But the Bulls announced a couple of weeks back that they're going to do a Ring of Honor, their first ever, which is kind of weird if you think about it. But yeah, I mean, various players from both of course, back in the day, of course, with MJ and Pip and all those guys. Also to a few others from yesteryear. I know Jerry Sloan and a few others as well. So, Sid, what do you think? Because there's some conspiracy theories with some of this stuff, and I'll let you have at it.
I know that whole 1996 team is in there because of the 72 wins in the championship. Right. I think the late Johnny Red Kerr is in there as well. I don't want to start too much of a controversy, but hopefully we won't have to wait too long. But can we get Norvan Lear in there? Because he was one of the best defensive point guards in NBA history. Of course, he teamed up with Jerry Sloan for those Bulls teams in the mid-'70s when they were in the Western Conference. They were always, challenging the Los Angeles Lakers, Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry Reston crew back then. But hopefully we won't have to wait too long to get Norvan Lear in there. I think there was a very good list that's going in this year. But hopefully we won't have to wait too long for Norvan Lear. Now, can you think of any other names that should be in there that we'll probably eventually get in the Bulls Ring of Honor outside of Norvan Lear?
Yeah, I think Horace Grant. I know some people thought that maybe he should be on there now.
Yeah, he was at the game the other night.
Yeah, and then look, I know that 95, 96, that squad in there. I know Artis Gilmore, Phil Jackson. We'll see if he comes, and of course, Johnny Red Kerr. That's going to be like the for this year coming up, next month. But yeah, I mean, I know Horace will probably get there eventually. I know. Yeah, I know. I saw him there the other night in that Lakers game. He was here on the LeBron too, also, by the way. That was actually pretty funny. I know that. I mean, the 90-91 team. I think that because that was the very first win for the Bulls. I know they'll probably get.
You think it'll be obvious? Yeah, 61 wins in the regular season, swept the Pistons, and they beat the Lakers after losing the first game. Yeah, you think that's obvious?
Yeah, I think Jerry Sloan, I think might be in there too. Yeah, I think that he'll probably get in there eventually. With Norvan Lear, I know that both their families are still very close with their respective passings. Scottie Pippen, I know some people were saying that I know they didn't get there as a team, but as an individual. I know some people, with some of the stuff that Scottie has said now in recent years. I know some people will, but I'm just interested to see if it's going to go, if it's even going to make an appearance. I know that we'll see if Jerry Krause gets there eventually. He was the architect. Well, also he's the reason why the Bulls broke up. That's a whole nother. We talked about in the last dance. But yeah, I think this is right for right now. Like I said, they just started this, so I'm sure guys will get their flowers. John Paxson will get his flowers eventually.
Do you think Chet Walker?
Yeah,
Bob Butterbean Love.
Yes, I'm sure they'll get it eventually. BJ Armstrong, I know that they didn't bring him in the best of terms either because of what happened with D Rose and that whole thing. Do you see any of the Bulls from after the 2000s? Do you see any of those guys getting in?
Ooh, that's a good question. That is a good question. Wow,
I thought I would have your head scratching.
This is what we do here in Second City Sports. I would say Elton Brand, but they didn't leave on good terms. You know, he was traded to the Clippers. No Ben Gordon, sorry. No Kurt Heinrich.
That ain't happening.
No. Obviously, Derrick Rose is obviously Joakim Noah.
Oh yes, that'll make our buddy.
I think
Matt
that's a shoe in eventually within the next year or two.
Yeah, I think that'll make our buddy Matt Peck happy with that one.
Yeah,
you know he's gonna be lobbying for him to get in.
Yeah,
eventually. I mean, I don't know who else would you put on there. Would you put
from that era? Yeah, like I said, Joakim Noah. That's for sure.
I think that's about it.
Right? From that Bulls squad. Yeah. Now from the 80s and 90s. Let me bring up this name. I actually met him down when we were doing the old D and Davis show on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Craig Hodges. He was part of that first three-peat. I know they didn't bring him back for that 93 season, but you think he should get at least consideration for the Ring of Honor?
I don't know if he gets in, but I think he'll definitely get considered. I know that he kind of got blacklisted from the NBA. We talked about that at various points early on when we first started doing it virtually. But yeah, I can see him getting in there. I think he's definitely one of those guys where he can probably maybe get in for that. And let's see, who else?
Tony Kukoc. I think he's part of that first group. He's not. He should be on the next one.
He'll be. Yeah, I think for the 95, 96, I think.
No, he's in there as a team, but.
Yeah.
Who else?
Who else could be there?
I was gonna say Charles Oakley, but
I thought about Oakley. But do you think? Maybe?
I don't know.
I don't know. Oh boy.
Reggie Theus, aka Coach Fuller.
Oh well, for that alone, I think that might.
Yeah, because he was Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan, quote unquote.
Yeah, and they were playing the Western Conference too at the time. People forget about that. The Bulls were back then they were still playing in the Western Conference.
Right, and he was on the last Bulls playoff team before Michael Jordan got drafted.
Yep. So
the Bulls made to the playoffs in '81, and of course Jordan got drafted 3 years later.
Yeah, so yeah, I could kind of I mean maybe eventually, but yeah.
One more name, and I think he's no longer with us. You can correct me on that. And he did the Bulls games with Neil Funk on the radio back then, obviously after he retired. Tom Boerwinkle.
Let me see if he's still with us. I mean, for the television side, I think I could see that. Let me see if he's still with us. Yeah, I can kind of see that. No, he died in 2013. Boerwinkle did.
Okay, yes, I was correct. Yeah, so yeah, he was part of those teams, those Bulls teams in the mid '70s with him, Artis Gilmore, Chet Walker, Bob Love. Of course, we talked about Norm Van Leer and Jerry Sloan earlier. So yeah, like I said, Tom Boerwinkle, he can be up for consideration for the Bulls Ring of Honor.
I mean, there are a lot of guys you can consider for that Bulls Ring of Honor. So I'm sure they'll various guys will get their flowers at some point, but. But yeah, I think like I said, the really like the ones so far, and of course I'll repeat it once again for people who were just the 95, 96 team, Artis Gilmore, Phil Jackson, of course Michael Jordan, and Johnny Red Kerr.
Okay.
Yeah, that is your Ring of Honor for this year, or 2024.
Yep. So, like I said, they'll be honored next month in the upcoming Bulls home game. I don't know which date that's going to be, but we'll talk about it more as the date gets closer. Now, Lakina, I know you want to wrap it up with a little bromance between rookies, Connor Bedard and Victor Wembanyama, who we thought that he wasn't going to play in the game last night because of the load of management that as first head coach Greg Popovich likes to enforce every once in a while. But he had a chance to play last night. Obviously, he didn't do anything, but they had an interesting photo session before the game.
Yeah, you can go through the NBA and NHL, and I think the Blackhawks and the Spurs. They got on their various social media sites, so take a look at that. I mean, they were talking about him playing basketball, talking about Wemby and Bedard playing hockey, and you see the height difference between the two of them. It was just so funny. But remember, Bedard can still grow. He's only 18, so he has another growth spurt in him. So we'll see what happens there. But Yeah, I mean, it was a nice little conversation between the two. I mean, there was, I think, I'm sure they've said they'll keep in touch. I mean, this is Wimby's only first visit to Chicago this year, so I could definitely see the two of them kind of like having a nice little bromance, a little bit. Look, get these two to kind of like do some cross promotions in your respective sports. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, like I always say all the time, the NHL Commissioner Gary Beavis Bettman, RIP, like the late Les Grobstein. But the NHL, just like Major League Baseball, they struggling promoting their own stars. They want other people to do it for them. And when you have that mentality, things bad happen for you. But on the flip side, for the NBA, as we said before, they know their audience. They don't apologize for it. That's why they're number 2 behind the NFL in this country, the United States, as far as popularity is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think having the two of them kind of get together and being have this little conversation, do it every year, or do whatever whatever when it comes to town to Chicago, because there's no unless they're in because I don't think there's no hockey, there's no NHL team in San Antonio, so you're not gonna be able to do that. So whenever the Bulls, or even during the off season, maybe have the two of them kind of get together and talk about being young phenoms, I guess, in their respective sports like that. That could be a nice little content there for hockey, especially since you guys need it desperately. Just saying.
Yeah. One more story before we close out for the Christmas holiday weekend. The Dodgers get their guy, not just Shohei Ohtani, but the star pitcher as well to go along with Mr. Ohtani. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, this really wasn't a big surprise. I know that the Cubs were trying to get we're trying to get him. I know the Yankees were as well, and I think the Mets were very close to. I think they for what I read last night, the Mets were actually very close to getting Yamamoto, and of course, $325 million for Mr. Yamamoto, and 325. I mean, the fact that the Dodgers will be able to spend about $1 billion now. Of course, Ohtani's money has been deferred for like the next decade, so they'll be able to spend all this money, and of course they've got a great TV deal, so they can get spend as long as they want. So and they're gonna need somebody there. Of course, we'll see, because we know that next year that Ohtani won't pitch, I should say. So it'll be interesting to see how Yamamoto, especially once Ohtani is healthy, we'll see how he. But look, they sure if they're pitching, and the Dodgers are meaning business.
Yeah, and also too, remember they picked up Tyler Glasnow on that trade from Tampa Bay, and now 2 things now since they're trying to fill out their rotation. Well, this means that Clayton Kershaw will come back for at least 1 more year, and are they quote unquote out of the Dylan Cease sweepstakes until at least the trade deadline? Some of those Sox don't trade them between now and in spring training.
Yeah, that's gonna be another thing too. Get that that soft deal with Kershaw, and I think, like you said, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if we're with the Cease. Because remember, the Dodgers have been right there for Cease. So, but this will put the talks away for at least for right now. So it'll be interesting to see if what they do decide, especially if they're gonna need some more pitching, before the trade deadline. And I know some people say, well, about the Cubs and such, but I mean, look. The Bellinger thing, I know they're playing a game of chicken with, they want like $200 million or something like that. You're not going to get that. So.
And Toronto's in on him too.
Yeah. And I don't know if Toronto's going to be able to pay like $200 million. I don't think that's going to happen. So they're going to be playing chicken with the Cubs and the Blue Jays and some of the other teams. But I don't know if they'll be able to, they're not going to get that money, especially with all the spending that the Dodgers have been doing. So, Bellinger and Scott Boras may have to kind of pull back on that a little bit. They got about 7 weeks before spring training.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I think most of these signings will pick up, especially as we head towards the end of the calendar year and the beginning of January. So, as of right now, the Cubs' biggest acquisition was hiring new manager Craig Counsell. I know Craig Counsell is like, well, I see the team that I have in front of me. We need some more pieces. We need to boost up that starting rotation. Yeah, get Cody Bellinger in here, but I need some more starting pitching in that bullpen. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I'm sure Craig Counsell has made his voice known. So, I think he'll definitely have a say on the roster. So, yeah, I think, look, I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure things will probably be within the next week or two after the Christmas holiday. I think there's definitely going to be some more movement on both sides of town. Even the White Sox, too. We'll see the White Sox make any more moves, in these next few weeks.
Oh boy, like Christine says, oh boy. Let's wait for the AL Central to come to us. Come to us, please. As our buddy Josh from our buddy Josh Nelson from Sox Machine always says, hope is not a strategy. Everybody gets to itself for the Sox organization. I'm just saying.
On that, no, anything else before we disperse?
Getting ready to enjoy this 3-day weekend and some mild weather around these parts of Chicago and perhaps most of the country as we celebrate the holiday season. When was the last time it was near 50 degrees around Christmas in Chicago, Lakina? I can't remember.
Yeah, well, no, it's been a while. Probably before we were born, probably. I don't know. The only bad thing is it's gonna rain. It's not gonna be like it's not gonna be like 50 degrees and sunny. It's gonna be raining, on and off. So, but guys, you got some great sports to enjoy. You've got at the NFL, you've got some NBA, their Christmas games, and you got some other stuff too. It's gonna be coming on as well over these next few days. So you got some shopping to do. Stream or watch some games, and don't do anything stupid. That's all I'll say.
Facts. All right, take us home.
All right, I know you can follow my Keenan McGee on the Twitter, X at Keenan's going to be in the IG.
You can follow yours truly, Sydney Brown, on the Twitter, X, and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, at SidKid80, that's SIDKID80, SIDKID80. Make sure you download that Sports Zone Chicago app wherever you get your apps. Make sure you follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, and YouTube. Please subscribe to our podcast at War Media Podcast. That's WAR Media. PODCASTS. We are on all podcast platforms, including the iHeartRadio app. And, while you're at it, please give War Media a follow at WAR Media on Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And thank you very much in advance for your support.
Like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends.
Catch Second City Sports every Monday, every Friday from noon to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on Sports Zone Chicago. Except for this Monday, because we are observing the Christmas holiday. So we'll be back with you next Wednesday, the 27th. But catch Second City Sports every Monday, every Friday, except for this Monday because of the Christmas holiday. From noon to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on Sports Zone Chicago.
All right, and of course, you can use this Christmas little Christmas weekend to catch Sports Zone Chicago and our other shows on Roku TV. So, on Roku, if you got the Roku app, wherever you get your apps, on Google Play Store or Apple Play Store or wherever you get, wherever else you get your apps, you can go to, type in Sports of Chicago. We've got Roku. You can catch our show, Sean and Maya, the Smoke Fellas, and a whole lot more. And of course, you'll spend these next weekend to catch up on us. You catch up with us. So yes. It's all right there for you.
All right, Lakina, send us home.
All right, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody. Be safe. Don't act stupid. Enjoy the sports.
Ease up on the eggnog.
Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it on the eggnog either. So for Sid, I'm the King of Second City Sports on Sports Chicago, and we'll see you next week.
See you next Wednesday, December 27th at 12 noon Central Standard Time. Till then, happy holidays. Holla!